I touched upon the subject of the 1966 Michigan UFO sightings, better known as the swamp gas sightings, on a number of videos. It fascinates me due to my personal connection with those 1966 sightings. Now, I will try to remember to put links in the description to the previous videos. I have found something new to present, but first I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on the sightings. I'm not going to go into great detail because I've already done that in other videos. The weird events began on March 14th, 1966, downstate in Washtenaw County. Now, I might add here that the winter of 1966, especially late winter, was very odd because it was very warm for winter time, and I remember most mornings being humid and foggy, and there was just a weird atmosphere at the time. Something just didn't seem right. But at any rate, down in Washtenaw County, deputies Bushrow and Foster sighted several disc-shaped objects, and they moved across the black evening or early morning sky very quickly. And by 4:04 a.m., Livingston County Sheriff's Department confirmed the sightings and sent extra patrols to Bushrow and Foster's location. The main event, well, there were two main events actually. One took place on March 20th at the farm of Frank Manor, who was walking his dog one evening, as I said, March 20th, and he noticed strange lights in the sky. But he ignored it, and he and his dog joined his family in the house. When he thought no more about it, actually, until the dog got very agitated inside and started barking and wouldn't calm down. So Frank and his son Ron went outside to investigate and to calm the farm animals, which were also pretty riled up. And when they walked out, there were strange lights above them, but they were closer now than they had been when he was walking the dog. The object stopped motionless over the treetops, over a wooded area across the road from the farmhouse, and they said that it had a dome-shaped top and that it was oval-shaped with a quilted-like surface and lights on each end of the middle. The dome top and the oval shape is important later in my sighting. Now, Manor ran in to call the Washtenaw police to report the sighting, and then he and Ron made out towards the swamps where the object appeared to have come down. Officers Stanley McFadden and David Fitzpatrick responded, and they went to the swamp on foot, and there saw the weird lights for themselves. And as they approached it, the light would dim only to reappear again in different areas, and it did this repeatedly. Now, Frank and his son Ronnie were closer to the object and could see that it was solid and about the size of a car, again with a domed top and a flat underside. Now, apparently, it appeared directly in front of them, as if out of nowhere, and their surroundings lit up like they were caught in the beam of a searchlight. And after disappearing and reappearing a number more times, it sped off at a very high speed. Now, the night of March 21st, an equally amazing sighting took place at Hillsdale College, where a strange craft was said to have descended near the girls' dormitory. Civil Defense Director for Hillsdale County, William Van Horn, after notifying the police, he himself made his way to the location. And at the dormitory, he saw the mysterious objects hovering or resting in a hollow in the ground. As Van Horn observed it, low to the ground maneuvers, it allowed him to make out details of a solid structure. Now, all this began just after 10:30 p.m. and lasted until about 4:30 a.m. So it was quite an active night there at the college. When the object or objects simply vanished, however, there were, by that time, many credible witnesses. Now, there was a state of panic within Michigan. At that time, citizens were demanding an explanation. There was a real concern. It was a different time. We didn't have the mass media like we do now. We didn't have people weighing in on things immediately. And people, being that there was such an unusual atmosphere anyways that late winter, people were frightened. And the citizens were calling on and demanding an explanation from the government. So to quell everyone's fears, the Air Force sent in Dr. J. Allen Hynek from Project Blue Book to investigate, and he was to find a solution even if he had to make one up. So after a very, very brief investigation, he concluded that many of the sightings were nothing more than swamp gas. Not all of them, but many of them. And I doubt that anyone was buying that explanation. It was lame, but it was all that we got. At that time, I was only 11 years old, and for some reason I had an abnormal, almost manic fear of UFOs. And there had been an earlier sighting in my life when I was really, really small. And I don't know if that has something to do with my fear or not. It could have. But it was to the point that I couldn't concentrate on anything else, and my schoolwork suffered greatly, and my personal life was a mess. My nerves were a mess. And while downstate sightings seemed to dissipate, or were just not being covered by the media anymore, they were still going on into the early summer of 1966, and were not limited to the southern part of the state anymore. So I lived in Bridgeport, Michigan, at 4233 Shreve Drive, with my dad and mom, Frank Morrison and Lorraine Cunningham Morrison, and my brothers Frank Morrison Jr., Bill Morrison, and my sister Roseanne. Now I recall, this is vivid, it's burned in my memory, and I think about it often. And for such a simple event, it was life-altering. But we were all gathered in the living room of my parents' home, and it was after dark. I remember Peyton Place was on TV, and we were all sitting there watching it. The door was open, the front door was open because it was a warm evening, and the door looked out on Shreve Drive and the neighbors' houses, and then behind them was a cemetery. And that's my cat Charlie. What's the matter, Char? And anyways, my mom had a recliner right by the door, and she was in the recliner, and I was sitting down by her, but on the floor by the recliner. And we were watching the show, and I glanced outside, and I saw an oval green object up in the sky, soundlessly, just silently drifting across the sky. It was, as I said, it was green, self-luminescent. Maybe it was there at the most. It took maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and it was going from the. So the object was making its way. It would have been coming from the southwest, and it was making its way. No, it would have been coming from the southeast. And it was making its way northwest, and it would have taken it out over that cemetery and then beyond, over onto past the Dixie Highway and then on to wherever. Now, for many years, I thought I was the only one that saw it. Now, I'm sure I wasn't. There were probably reports called in, and that's something I could probably investigate sometime, maybe in the police records. But anyways, in response to one of the videos I did, somebody who lived behind us by about a mile had also seen it. But I don't understand why it has stuck so firmly in my mind all these years. But what I found that's different is I was watching, let me grab this because it's got the name of the program on it I was watching. It was a program about the Pascagoula sighting back in 1973, I believe. And the video that's playing in the background here, and I will show you, a close-up of it. But this is from the film on Pascagoula, and I altered the exposure and I altered the color of the object because this looks exactly like what I saw that night in Bridgeport in late May, early June 1966. The object might have been a little bit greener, but even the setting looks like what I saw. And so I wanted to present that to you because finally I have something which is a good representation of what happened to me that night in 1966. And so that's all I got for you this time. But I am going to start doing some checking in police records and see if I can find anything else that might pertain to that night and that sighting. All right, so I hope you enjoyed seeing this. I'm going to stop talking here, and I'm going to show you this clip up close. There's two speeds, one that goes at a fairly quick pace, and then one which goes really slow. But this is the one that goes really slow, but the one that goes really quick starts here, and to me, it's just chilling. Or excuse me, this is one that goes really slow. Anyways, to me it's chilling because it is pretty much what I saw that night. So let me give you a closer look and then I'll let y'all go. Let me know what you think. And if you lived in Saginaw County, around Bridgeport, Saginaw, Frankenmuth, that area, and you lived there in '66 and you saw anything remotely like what I'm talking about on this video, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you because I would love an explanation of this case. My mind has wrestled with it for over 50 years, and it was such a simple event. All right, let's take a closer look, okay?